Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know that drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below. Okay, so this is going to be continue on what I just did or what I just recorded for my sports car channel. That video probably won't be up till tomorrow morning, but I wanted to talk about inflation. And I'm going to ask the question, has inflation peaked? And what would be surprising to some people who have followed me for years, I would say potentially. And you might be like, why are you saying that? Okay. So, geopolitical events made inflation much worse than what I had expected. And what you saw in various markets, you saw all these yields sell off, right? You had the bond market sell off and interest rates went higher. And now the question is, what if the 2-year yield, the 5-year yield, 7-year yield, and 10-year yield, what if we see rallies in the bond market? Is there an interlinking relationship among the traders right now? Before, they were selling bonds and oil prices were going higher and the Japanese yen was weakening. What if Japanese yen strengthens? What if the 5-year, the 7-year, and the 10-year yield, you see a rally in bonds and you see a sell off in oil? In my opinion, the CPI, the inflation that we're seeing, has to do obviously with higher oil prices, has to deal with higher wheat prices, has to deal with supply chain issues because of China, because they shut down. So now, what if China slowly opens back up their economy? I know they were shut down and they open and then they shut down a little bit more. I haven't followed too closely, but what if in the process they're opening up their economy, supply chain then improves, and then on top of it, you could see bond markets rally and then oil prices will then go down. Okay, I'm just thinking out loud. Like, what if that situation? You have to also look at the fact that this is an election year, right? And it is in the best interest of the Biden administration to get oil prices down as quick as possible. So, over a decade ago, I was talking to John about this, my buddy, who's been on my sports card channel and done interviews with him in the past as well. And I was just talking to him the other day. I'm like, hey, dude, what if the CME raises margins to a ridiculous amount of level where it's harder for people to, put margin when they're trading, right? Maybe they're going to be liquidated out of their oil speculative long position because they're not going to be wanting to put 60, 70% for margin. I think right now, I just put it on my brokerage account. Like, if I were to put a long position on crude oil, I think I'd have to put down, what, $38,000 total just to buy a $120,000 contract. So I think the front month is about 35%. So what if they move that 35% to about 60%, 65%, 70%? Oil would probably go down. In addition to that, they have that in the back pocket. So, but in addition to that, some of the technicians that I'm following, they're saying that, hey, oil's about to roll over. Okay, I'm just looking at what they're saying. Okay, and even though summer's coming up, it could be overpriced. Buy the rumor, sell the news. It could be that situation. And three, I'm looking at this one guy, Thomas Thornton. He runs hedge fund telemetry. He has all these hedge funds following him, and they subscribe to him through a newsletter subscription service. And he uses DeMark indicators, and it's really sophisticated, but he came up with his chart indicating that the CPI is about to roll over. Take it or leave it. And he said within the next, 5 months, CPI should be coming down. Okay? Inflation should be, you'll still have inflation, but it's going to be increasing at a lesser rate. And I'm just thinking, what if that's the case? Ultimately, I still believe we're going to have deflation in about 2 to 3 years when the whole economy comes tumbling down. I don't believe we are in a recession. And if I'm wrong, suppose you have another quarter of GDP that's negative. I believe the Federal Reserve is going to reverse course. And when they reverse course, that's going to uh, boost up asset prices, all sorts of asset prices that have been going lower, be it stocks, be it crypto, be it commodities like gold and silvers, etc., or silver. So that's what I see happening. I see oil prices actually playing a huge part in inflation coming soon. And if it goes down, then I believe inflation is going to go lower. The other thing I wanted to leave off on, and I talked about this in my sports card video, which will be uploaded tomorrow, is that the bond market, like the 3 year yield, not 3 year, the 10-year yield is about 10, not 10%, 3%. 3%. 5 year yield is what? Less than 3% from my understanding. So the bond market is not pricing in high inflation. That's why I believe that if you look at the 5 year tips and 10-year tips, that's still basically positive. 10-year tips is positive, what, 30 basis points? The 5 year tips is what, slightly negative? So if you're just looking at that, the market is not pricing in, the smartest guys in the room, the bond market, they're not pricing in high inflation down the road. They may be expecting potentially deflation in the coming years. Earlier this year, the bond market was inverted. Sevens and the tens, I believe, threes and the tens. And I'm just thinking, okay, if that is the case, then everyone's talking about inflation now. I used to talk about inflation all the time, and then now the common Joe's talking about inflation. Now I'm talking like, oh, look, hold up a second. It could actually be deflation, because when all of these people cannot pay off their mortgages, they cannot pay off their car loans, they cannot make other loan payments, that you get deflation. And yeah, you don't want to see like hardcore inflation or deflation, but everyone's talking about inflation. I want to take the contrary side, and I'm like, hey, look, prices are going to be coming down whether we like it or not, and probably 2 3 years it's going to be nasty, but it is what it is, guys. What do you think about all this? Do you agree with me? Do you see inflation? Do you see deflation later on? What do you see happening? I'm in the boat that we'll get inflation, but not at the rate that we're seeing right now. And then eventually when the market totally crashes down, maybe like 2008 or 2020, it's going to be great buying opportunities, and then deflation, and Federal Reserve is going to pump this back up or try to pump it back up, but maybe not to the same levels that they have in the past. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below, guys. Thank you. Bye.